Hey there, Flo here. Okay, so about to get started here. This is something a little bit different. Oh, shoot, I need to change this. Okay. All right, here we go. So today, let's see. It'll take me a minute to get outside because I'm setting everything up inside on my computer, so I have to make sure everything's going good before I switch scenes. So you won't see me for a while because I have to walk outside to where my cameras are. It's a little bit crazy setup. Let me change the scene and see and make sure it looks good. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. Yeah, we should be good. Can I tell if they're moving or are they like locked up? Okay, I think I see some trees moving. Yeah, I think we're good. Oh, let me check. See where my chat is here. Okay, that should be good. All right. So, I'm gonna be doing an IRL stream today, obviously. So I've been needing to work on this shop project. It's not super urgent, but I want to get it done the sooner the better, or at least get a good start on it. So let me go out here where you can see me. I'm actually using all three of my phones. I'm actually pretty close to ordering another phone. These are all old phones except for one of them. So here I am. So yeah, I'm gonna be building a loft in this shop. Not super complicated or anything, but I'm gonna try to do a good job. I'm not a construction person at all, but I'm fairly handy like most people can figure things out. I've done a fair amount of woodwork over the years, but I'm not a professional at all. But yeah, we got some 2x6s here that I'm going to cut to length and install up above the top of the shop to give it like a second layer where we can store stuff and possibly put some small beds and stuff. I'm hoping the 2x6s are strong enough. I think they'll be fine. Like, we looked at an example of a loft built in a shed like this, and it used 2x6s, and so I think we'll be fine. Obviously, it would be stronger if it was like 2x10s or 2x12s or whatever, but I think it'll be okay. All right, so I'm not going to be in camera the whole time because I don't have. I mean, I could actually bring out my my gimbal so that it follows me, which would be pretty cool, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Watching chat will be the biggest challenge. I have my third phone in my pocket. Are the 2x6s braced? I don't know. If you hang out, you'll see, but not. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but yeah, I saw like the people who make these sheds use 2x6s. I think will be good, and they actually used 24-inch spacing, but I'm actually going to go 16-inch spacing, which will make it stronger. So even if I went 24, which is what the manufacturer uses, I should be good, but I just felt more comfortable doing 16-inch spacing mainly because we'll put some beds up there, just like some small beds. So, but for like storage, like random bins and stuff, like Rubbermaid bins or just whatever, it would be quite strong. But anyway, so yeah, this is what we got in here. So that's one 2x6 just sitting up there. It's not attached yet, obviously, but we were just seeing how long they were and making sure that good in that way. So, let's see. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, actually, let me get this ladder set up so I can see what I'm doing up here. But welcome, kitty boxers. Let's see. Oh, let me, oh, sorry, Kilty. My mistake, indeed. All right, so basically, the first thing I'm gonna do is measure. I'm gonna measure every single board because, well, I could cut them all the same length because the shed is approximately square. I was noticing when I was measuring other things that not everything is consistent all the way around, so I wanna get every measurement as exacting as I can. So first one I'm going to install is this far end over here so I can have something to base my measurements on. Get these 2x4s out of the way. Let's see, where should I put these? Actually, no, wait a minute. Forget this. We are eventually possibly going to install a loft on both sides, but I think I'm going to start with the one on that side. So I actually don't need to move this stuff because I think it's pretty clear over there. I was actually picturing, when I said kitty boxers, I was picturing kind of like a meme of two little kitties like batting at each other, boxing or something. But Kilty is much more mysterious and requiring explanation. Okay. You do have a cat, nice. Okay. So I guess I do need to move some stuff. There's a few boxes down here on the floor, so I can get those out of the way. Oh, so this is I have a breakthrough for you now, since you're on you now. I wasn't able to get audio, proper audio before like my last live stream. I'm like 99% sure it was muted because of how you now works. Or I would maybe say doesn't work, but no, it's just a different way of doing things. I have to stream through the browser instead of OBS. The only way to do it when you're multi-streaming. Won't go into all the details, but anyway, because of that, you have to choose a microphone, and I wanted my microphone to be my OBS source, which I didn't know this. Never really looked into it, but apparently OBS virtual camera does not export audio into the source. It's just a video feed. So yeah, it's just a video feed. So I had to use a virtual, or what is it called? Virtual audio cable, which I've done before for my piano streams in the long distant past, but I never used it for this particular use case, so that's pretty new. I got it to work. You stream fancier than when I did. Nice. What kind of content did you stream, or do you stream, or sounds like past tense? Okay, that's a good angle there, I think. I could actually bring this other camera in here until and the reason I have it outside is because I was going to cut up some wood out there, but until I get to that point, I guess I could just bring it in here for a random second angle. Guess it's mirrored, but I don't know how to fix that. Let me see if I can find that in the settings. I don't stream anymore. It was a random and definitely not family friendly. Oh, okay. All right, let's see. Yeah, we're family friendly on this channel. One of the very few remaining family friendly streamers. I have a hard time finding any these days. I don't really watch streams anymore though. I used to, but I feel like I just got nothing done in life when I was just sitting at the computer watching live streams all the time. It was fun, like it was good for a way to socialize, but yeah, it can kind of suck your time away. All right, so my main challenge is holding my chat phone. I could go grab my wristband chat thing. Maybe I'll do that because I'm not going to be able to hold this phone the whole time. And you're just going to have to forgive my mirrored screen. It's just the nature of the cell phone doing its thing. I could actually mirror it, but I don't really care to do that right now. So let me get... I already kind of forgot what I was getting because I was talking too much. What was I going to do? Oh, they aren't mirrored. Oh, that's cool. Never mind. They're mirrored on my phone screen, but not like in OBS, so that's good. I don't know how that makes sense, but I guess it's fine. I rarely come on anymore when I was painting. Definitely stream more because rain days and stuff. Nice. So you're an artist, I assume. Like painting pictures of things, I'm assuming. Like with actual paint, or are you talking about like digital paint or digital artwork? I seriously forgot why I came in here. That's pathetic. Talking too much. Let's see, I was gonna... Oh, I know, I was gonna get my wrist strap for the... Oh, contractor, oh nice. So I can see why you would pop in my stream then. Very cool. I actually just painted this shed that I'm working on today. Where's my wrist strap? Just saw it earlier in my mess of IRL gear here somewhere. Yeah, this setup, this way I'm doing it, I don't like to sound like I'm bragging or anything, but it's pretty cool, the tech that I figured out. I can have essentially remote distant microphone, so I'm like 100 yards away from where those cameras are, but it still feeds through. Let's see if I can find proper connection for this. This is more out of curiosity. Everyone else is just boring. Gotcha. Well, I can't promise that I'm not boring. That's for sure. Boring is actually kind of my specialty. That's why you'll see that I have typically no other viewers. You're my only viewer and very little activity in chat and not too many followers, all that stuff. Kind of proud of it, actually. I've been streaming for 5 years and tend to get ignored by the streaming community. It's quite excellent achievement, I must say. I just hate it because every streamer on here makes the reefer their whole personality. Yeah, I suppose. I don't actually watch streamers on YouNow, but I have kind of browsed through the homepage a bit, and yeah, I mean, that's fine. Everybody does their thing, but I'm not into the standard streaming community stuff. I do my own thing. A little bit of creativity. I do a lot of IRL streams, so like yesterday I was out hiking. Today I'm building something. But my actual most common streaming content is probably even more distasteful to most people than reefer, because I normally do Bible reading streams, which scares the vast majority of people away. But that's fine. I don't care. Your girlfriend's Catholic? Nice. Cool. You go to church? Oh, nice. That's cool. That's rare these days. You're one of those rare... And, there's no judgment on people that don't go to church. I don't even go to church currently. I am a Christian, but I don't have a home church right now. I'm sort of looking for one. I myself am not religious. Oh, cool. That's very, open-minded of you to go to a church when you're not religious. Do you find it interesting, or do you mainly do it for the sake of your girlfriend? I mean, you don't have to answer all these personal questions. I'm just curious. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so now I have my chatmobile on my arm, which might not be ideal when I'm doing the. Let me see, making sure it's not going to rotate on me, because that's super annoying. It's not going to be ideal for when I'm working on stuff, but that's why I put it on my left hand, so it'd be a little bit less disturbing since I'm right-handed. Okay, so let me grab that 2x6, but now I can at least use both my hands and sort of still kind of look at chat every once in a while. All right. I'm huge into philosophy, so taking the Bible readings and transforming it into philosophical terms is great. Priest is great and really goes into more than one aspect. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I find that, like, I understand it would be hard for non-religious people to go to church because they might despise the teachings or not believe any of it, or especially for an atheist. I don't know why like an atheist would want to go to church, but for me, like, I've grown up in the church and it's really changed my life. But besides all the spiritual stuff, like, it's really good for community. It's like a good way to make friends, and like when you're old, it's hard to make friends. Like when you're young, you go to school, you meet people there, you like have a whole class of people that you can associate with. Some of them are your friends, but you're just around people. But once you become an adult, it's really hard to meet new people. And so I find church is a good way to just stay connected in the community. But there's other options for that, I suppose, like different kinds of clubs or associations. I've never been part of any of that kind of stuff myself, but I don't consider myself atheist, but rather open-minded spiritual. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't mean to suggest that you were. I was just saying in general, like, I could understand if an atheist would not want to go to church because it's kind of antithetical to their core belief system. But otherwise, like, even if you don't believe in the church stuff, it's, you know, it's a good place to go to meet people and stuff. And then, of course, I would hope, being a believer myself, that some of the spiritual stuff would rub off on a person and maybe convince them of the value. For me, it's more of knowing God. Like, I believe he can be known. He's a personal God. And so I have a relationship with him, but it takes a while to develop that, just like any other relationship. Agreed. I've made like 3 friends as an adult all through the gun community. Nice. Yeah, and for me, like, live streaming has kind of become that. I haven't been going to church regularly. I've visited a few churches in my process of looking for one, but I haven't been going to one regularly. So live streaming for the last 5 years or so has been kind of my way of meeting people. So this is an interesting paradox here. Let's see. This is going to be a challenge. Like, how do I get this up in between those 2 ceiling rafters when it needs to be as long as those? And if I angle this diagonally, I can't get it in, and the roof is curved, so I can't just put it up, because as it goes up, it gets shorter. This is like a goofy paradox that I have to solve somehow. It almost goes past this rafter, but not quite. First of all, though, I'm gonna, before I get into that problem-solving issue, let me see. Actually, these, interestingly enough, these boards barely need to be cut. For some reason, I was thinking the width of this shed would, well, if I lift it up though, you can see how the roof is angled up, so it's not straight. So as I lift it up, it actually gets shorter. It hits the ceiling. So it's kind of like a paradox. But actually, I think I'm good. I was thinking these boards were going to be wider than the roof, and I'd have to cut them significantly. And I'm a little bit disappointed that they aren't that, because that means I have a little bit of give on either side, and I thought I was going to be spanning all the way to the roof edge. Let me measure this, because I'm actually kind of surprised that that's not the case. Guess I don't know exactly what you're trying to accomplish, so maybe just understanding what you're going for. Well, just basically like right here is fine, but like getting it into that corner space might be a challenge, and maybe it's not. I'm just curious actually now, more than anything. If I try to get this over into that final slot between the two rafters, put one corner in, and the other corner hits that rafter, and lifting it up actually makes it have less length to it. It's just one of those goofy problems. But I think maybe once I cut the angle out of the board, it will maybe go in there, possibly. This way. Can't quite get it in there. But I am going to cut an angle to match the roof off the top of these. So yeah, the problem is getting it into that final space between the rafters, and if I lift it up, it actually gets shorter because of the angle of the roof. The roof isn't going straight up, it's going at an angle, so. I don't even know. I need to like bend the board like a bow and arrow to get it up there. But anyway. I do have to cut a little angle off of them anyway, so maybe that action of cutting that bit off will allow me to squeeze it in between those two boards, hopefully. But anyway, before I do that, I need to measure some crap, because I'm super surprised. I thought that, because when I measured the floor in here a couple weeks ago, it was 9 feet 5 inches, not counting the studs on the side. So for some reason, I thought that if I got 10 feet boards, they would be actually wider than the, and I didn't measure all this beforehand, which was a mistake. But unless it's getting wider at the top, maybe the walls are actually bowed out a little bit and it's actually wider at the top than it is at the bottom. But I thought a 10-foot board would go all the way to the, let's see, 3.5. A 2x4 is 3.5. 2x3.5 is 7. It's weird. I'm guessing these boards are not true 10 feet, because 9.5 plus, no, wait a minute. Yeah, 9.5 plus 7 is exactly 10 feet. So they should touch the sides of the plywood, or whatever you call that board up there, OSB or whatever it is. That's weird. I'm guessing these boards are not true 10 feet. Let me measure. I know I'm fumbling a lot, but I want to get this right. I'm going to measure one of these over here. See what's going on. It is 10 feet. What? Okay. I'm very confused. Let me see if these are truly 3.5. Yes. 3.5. This is confusing. Maybe this particular board is shorter than the others and it's not quite 10 feet. That's the only thing I can think of. Either that or these walls actually go out away from the floor, which would be weird. I would expect them to be straight up and down, plumb or whatever. It's weird. Let me check this. This is blowing my mind. Nice to have this board up here though, because I couldn't really measure across this gap without the board on it. Yeah, it's like 122 inches or even more than that across. Oh, that is just bizarre. What? Why? Why is it? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, okay, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, I got it figured out. This is surprising to me. I guess it doesn't matter. But for some reason, so these studs over here are standard 3.5 inches, a 2x4. As is this one over here. This is a 2x4, so 3.5 inches. But this second board on top of this one is a 2x6, or yeah, 2x6, so it's 5.5 inches. That's why the 10-foot board is not going all the way to this OSB over here. I believe that's what that stuff is called. If I'm wrong, fine, I don't care. I'm not a construction person. So yeah, so these top ones are actually going out 5.5 inches instead of 3.5. That's why the board is coming short of the edge of the OSB. Very unexpected. I did not notice that. I guess I didn't get up. Like, just looking from down here, you can't really see that those top boards extend out further than the bottom ones. And so I was just looking at it thinking, oh, it's a 2x4 up there. I had no concept of the fact that it's actually a 2x6 on top of the 2x4. Interesting. Okay, well, I think we're still gonna be okay because this board will still be on 4 inches of support, which is probably adequate. I mean, it would be more ideal if it extended all the way to the panel, but I think, you know, the standard 2x4 support on the side should be strong enough. I'm just gonna hope that's the case. So now I have to calculate how much of the top of the board needs to be cut off so it can slide up in between, which is like difficult mathematics. I might just wing it, cut off a little bit, and then keep cutting off until I get a proper measurement. So that would be a difficult thing to measure. All right, so I have this cool, I bought this a long time ago, but I've never used it. It's like a angle measuring thing. So you turn it on, put it at 0. I don't know if this will show up. So you put it at 0, and then as you move these apart, it measures the angle between the two. So it's like a digital protractor. There's probably a name for these things. But yeah, it's cool. I like it. Because I wasn't sure what angle these roof panels were. So I'm gonna measure that real quick. So we got 67.55 degrees, pretty random. I don't know how they decide the roof pitch on this. 67.5 degrees. Got some nails, actually tons of nails sticking through from the roofing. So eventually it would be wise to put insulation in here and some sheetrock or something to close in those nails. Otherwise, anybody that comes up here to the loft is going to risk poking these nails through their hands or head. Rich man's speed square, I suppose. Gonna go with spray insulation or no? I don't know. Like, we don't really have any plans at this point to make this a living space. It's just sort of a backup idea. It's generally gonna be a storage shed with like a workshop in it and stuff. But yeah, so originally there was no plan to insulate it, but probably use the standard sheets of insulation. It just seems like that would be easier to install on a roof, angled roof. But I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Anybody that goes up there is gonna have to be very careful though, not to poke their hands on those nails. I'll mention that to my parents and see what they think, see what they want to do about that. For now, nobody's going to be sleeping out here like regularly. It's more for guests that will have a bed up there with a ladder and, you know, just for kids and things. I am in Oregon. All right. So I was gonna get this big table set up outside so that I could use it as a workbench kind of. So I'm gonna try to get that out. There's drawers on here. I'm gonna make sure the drawers don't come undone. So it does get cold, otherwise I'd suggest some OSB. Yeah, I mean OSB would be fine. It doesn't have to be sheetrock. I kind of actually like the look of the wood, because this isn't really meant to be a fancy living space, but we'll see. Sheetrock or wood, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, I would just leave it like this, uninsulated, because it's not really meant to be people living in it constantly. If someone's out here, we'll just run an extension cord and eventually we'll get power out here. But run an extension cord with a space heater, you know, nothing fancy. It's not meant to be like a official, legit living space. It's more like camping, if anything. Kind of like a accessory shed where people can sleep a bit if they want. Nobody's gonna be living out here permanently, just for a guest house. But its primary use is a shed. It's not meant to be a living space. All right. See, I don't know if the power cord is going to reach, so I need to keep it fairly close in here. This is something I haven't tested. I have no idea how loud these cuts will be. I do have noise cancellation on, and I was using a belt sander some months ago on my stream, and it was actually cutting out the entire sound of the belt sander, even though the microphone was right by it with the noise cancellation. I was quite amazed. Installation would definitely be a mess. Yeah, we'll probably do that eventually, but to start out, it's just a shop. Nobody's gonna be sleeping out here. The whole loft idea is like a secondary eventual thing. I'm just building the loft right now to get it ready, but it's not gonna be used for anything but storage until later. Okay. I use Walker earmuffs for my activities. Nice. I probably should go get some earmuffs. But I was talking about the stream, like it's crazy that it actually cancels out the sound of the thing. I was amazed that noise cancellation has gotten that good. I don't know if it's gonna cut out the noise of the cutoff saw or chop saw, whatever, because that's pretty stinking loud, but we'll find out in a minute. This isn't the most stable table, but it's gonna work for me. Keep in mind, I'm not a construction person, so I'm not doing everything to spec or the supreme safe method. So, you know, if you're doing your own building projects, don't use me as an example. I'm just getting it done here. Looks like I need a 2x4 to put under that back leg. It's not so nice to be able to talk to somebody and then bang happens and it cuts it out. I continue to hear them perfectly. Neither am I, so no judgment. Took construction, high school, that's it. Yeah, I've built a bunch of stuff just using my imagination or using YouTube or whatever, but I don't have any legit experience. I did work for a builder for my first job. Actually, my first 2 jobs, I worked for a builder and then an architect, but I wasn't actually building stuff. I was in the office and doing some odd jobs out in the field, but nothing like where I was building stuff. But I did actually do, briefly, I did some architectural drawings because the architect that I worked for was super old school. He actually hand drew everything, and he didn't know how to use computers hardly at all, so I did graphic design for him, and I also did some architectural drawings for him because I knew how to use like CorelDRAW and other software like that way back then. And so I kind of opened up his office to some new possibilities. That was actually one of my very first jobs that I ever did. That was so many years ago. I don't even want to say how long ago that was. So I'm going to cut the bare minimum off one end, and then I'll do the measurement on the opposite end until I figure out how big these need to be. Oof. Better off without computers anyway. Yeah, true. I'm not a computer enthusiast. I am a tech guy. Like, I worked as a web developer as my primary career for about 15 years, but I ended up hating it. I absolutely despised it. I didn't start out that way. It was a good job, but I just wasn't enjoying it. So I got completely burnt out and quit that career. And that was like, how many years ago is that? Like almost 9 years ago now, and I still haven't figured out what I'm doing with my life since then. It's just been a kind of a mess. But such is life. All right. This isn't an ideal setup, but it's what I got. I don't have a fancy top setup here. The only time I did tech stuff was when my grandma needed help with stuff since she died. I've lost any skills I had. Well, live streaming is kind of techy. So you could say that you did that for a while, right? Actually, that's the one thing that I still enjoy with technology is doing the live streaming stuff. Like, I generally kind of burn out with tech in general, but I've actually quite enjoyed tinkering with live streaming. All I did is click and go live. Gotcha. So did you just like use your phone then as your streaming method, or did you have a computer with like OBS Studio or whatever? Still though, a lot of people would never have a clue how to do what live streamers do. It's not the most tech heavy thing on earth, but I wouldn't speak so little of yourself. No OBS, gotcha. My laptop was built-in mic and camera. Oh, okay. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna cut off like the bare minimum of this top edge here, just to see what happens. I'm gonna cut off, I think it's only about halfway down, so I just need to cut off a tiny sliver of this thing, hopefully to make it fit. I need to go get a pencil though. Didn't exactly have a ton of time to set up. I was watching the time ebb away from the day, and I knew I wanted to get something done today, but I don't have a ton of time before it starts getting evening and dark and stuff, so I just kind of ran outside, got my stream set up, and I didn't get all my tools lined up. That's why I'm kind of jumping back and forth. I wish I could have the ultimate tech setup would be like a drone camera that just follows me wherever I go. That would be amazing. Then I wouldn't have to set up all these stationary cameras that aren't showing anything half the time. Okay, let me cut a little bit more off than that. I don't think I have to cut much off at all though. Like, just to show, like I think, whoa, I just pulled the camera over, no! That's the problem with cords. I could go wireless with this, but problem being I would run out of batteries eventually. Okay, there we go. I need longer cords though. Okay, let me just temporarily unplug this one. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut off this little bit there because I think the roof will hit it about there, but I'll just experiment because I don't really feel like trying to measure everything. Oh, cuts tiny silver ends up, not even being long enough to go across the boards. Okay, so I'm glad you were here to mention the earplugs or earmuffs because I'm gonna go get mine just to save my ears. And there's no guarantee on the stream that the sound of the saw will be cut out, but last time I did a very heavy power tool usage on my stream, the noise cancellation cut it out. But if you have headphones on or loudspeakers, definitely turn them down if you're watching, lurking, or whatever. Go get my headphone thingies, whatever you call them, if I can find them. Might not get much done today, but if I get one, the thing is, if I get one of these cut correctly, the rest of them should go pretty quick because once I know the general dimensions, I can probably cut them all about the same. Oh, okay, come on. Right. Safety first. I wish I would have realized it when younger, but no. Now I have tinnitus. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I was working with my dad's cousin last summer on a lathe project. He has this giant, like, World War II destroyer lathe, and he resurfaces stuff, and I was working with him. He was training me how to do something, and none of us had ear protection on there. Oh my goodness, that thing was loud. That was the biggest mistake ever. I actually felt like it was literally damaging my ears as we were operating it. It's not normally loud, but the metal was like not cutting finally, and it just, it was bad. It was a bad situation. Thankfully it was fairly short-lived, but yeah, anyway. Hey ZJ, thanks for I believe that's a lemon. Continual gunshots did it for me, gotcha. Okay, so I'm just matching the angle that I measured on this thing. I'm just gonna cut the bare minimum off of this. So yeah, you guys tell me if the noise cancellation does its job on here. I don't know if it will or not. Of course, the cord isn't gonna reach, so maybe I should just move this whole operation a little bit closer to the door. That's probably the best idea. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, ZJ. Hope you're doing good. I actually saw you on Senor Burro. I can't say his name. Can't speak Spanish, but yeah, I saw Saw you chatting on there the other day, or yesterday, I think it was. No extension cord. I could go get one, but I'm not that far from, I have an extension cord right here, but it's like inside the shop for my, to these cameras that are plugged into it, so that's the reason I'm pulling this closer to where those are. I don't want to get another extension cord. Okay. Make sure this table is stable. It's actually pretty good. But both ends are on the rocks. They're both feet, legs, whatever. Better. I'm always there, but lurking there as late. Gotcha. All right. Maybe that's close enough now. Yeah, cover your ears or test the waters before you just assume on this audio, because I don't have any confidence it'll cut out the sound of this thing, but it might. Got my eye protection on. Okay. There goes nothing, or something. Hopefully it's something. I have a secondary garbage table over to the left of this thing to prop up the length of the other side of the board. But it's not flat at all. It's the worst. I'm not even going to show it because it's so bad. It's literally the worst. Should be flat enough. Cool shed. What are your plans for it? You built it yourself thus far, or did some shed workers get this far for you? Just put headphones on in, so I just blame you for tinnitus. So yeah, we had a company come and install the shed. We painted it ourselves, and I'm currently adding a loft to it, but yeah, they built the shed. We considered buying a kit. My dad had this subscription to a website where you could, like you could either download plans and go out and buy the materials yourself according to the plans, which we thought about, or we thought about those kits you can buy. But we decided in the end just to have somebody do it. It was just quicker and easier. Actually, I don't know if this saw is going to be long enough. Okay, brace for impact. Loud sounds coming. 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, this is not long enough. I know there's a trick where you can tilt up the board, but when I'm cutting an angle, I don't think that'll work. So let's see, I probably should have done it the other way, logically. Let's do that. Should have thought of that, but I didn't, so now I'm fixing my mistake. Let's see, how do I measure this the opposite way, though? That. The plans for it, though, is I'm hoping to eventually start a small business and use the shed for my base of operations. But it's also, we have a very small living space cabin here where I'm living, and there's not really much room for storage, so this will be kind of a storage shed as well. Why is that not matching the angle? I must not have measured it properly, or I moved it, probably is what happened. Let me make sure that 57.55. Close enough. It's hard to measure it on this. That's not the same. I don't remember what the measurement was. Let me go measure that angle again because I don't remember. I didn't write it down. Oh, 67. What? Is that what it was? Is that really what it was? Let me double check that. Oh yeah, I think it was over 60. Okay, that's right. So it's like 67 and a half, approximately, or 67. Okay, 67 degrees. It's pretty close. It's not exact, but close enough. Close enough for what it's for. That's what I hope to do here too, but I'd want to plan my storage hobby work shed first. Gotcha. Yeah, I have some plans online. By the way, tell me if you can hear this or not on this saw. I have noise cancellation on. I'm curious if it's good enough to cancel this out or not. Maybe cut the same angle on the other side. I didn't have that angle locked in with a little lock thing, so maybe it was just moving and that's why it was off. I don't know. Not pro here at all, plus I'm a little bit distracted. Blame it on that. Hey Leo, thanks for the lemon. Are you gonna insulate it too? Yeah, probably eventually, because the reason I'm building this loft partially is for additional storage, but also sort of as a makeshift guest house. So there'll be a couple bed, or at least one bed up there, and so yeah. In that case, once we do that, we'll probably insulate it, but not to start out. I'm just cutting off a tiny bit on the corners and hoping for the best that it fits up in the gap now. Hello. Hello and hero. It's a language I'm not familiar with. Let's go over here. Don't have much clearance to get through this space because of these stupid cameras. So cutting off those angles might give me enough clearance to get it up in the space behind the rafter. Kind of hoping that's the case. Otherwise, I don't know how to get this in there. Yeah, I didn't even need to cut off that much, honestly. Oh, you know, this is gonna be complicated. And install an electrical box too. Yeah, I don't know how to do electrical, but I have some family members that do. So yeah, if we end up needing to do that, we'll ask a friend or family member to do it. My dad probably knows enough to do the electrical, but he might not feel comfortable doing it. I don't know. That's weird. Looks like there's a gap between those studs on top of that header board or whatever you call it. But it's probably just the perspective since boards are a little bit rounded on the edges. Water plumbing, no, we're not gonna do that. It's close enough to the main structure that you can just walk a little distance to get to the bathroom. It's not gonna be a actual living space, like to code or anything. It's just gonna be an occasional guest house. Pretty rare occasions probably, because there's generally enough beds in the main structure, but like I have 3 friends from high school and it's a little bit tight when they come to visit, maybe once every year or two for like a weekend. And so, for example, one or two of them could sleep out here on a little loft bed or whatever. And they could sleep on the bottom floor too, as long as we don't have it full of random storage stuff. So it doesn't, it still doesn't get past this rafter unless there's some crazy trick that I'm not thinking of. I don't know how to get it up there, which is weird. It's a weird problem to have. How would you overcome that issue? It's almost like you'd have to build it that way already. Like, how would you get that back there? It's not even really close to getting past I bring this side back. Gives me the maximum clearance here. I'm like halfway. I wonder if I could just use a sledgehammer and like beat it past this rafter, because it's so stinking close now that I cut that corner off of it. Can't lift it up because that makes it shorter. Yeah, I'm gonna try just like hammering it past, because it's like literally so stinking close. I don't want to get it wedged in there. That's so annoying. Yeah, can I get it? No, I can't get it from below here. What a crazy problem to have. How would they even overcome this issue? They were building it themselves. It's almost like you'd have to put two shorter boards on the edge and join them in the middle. That's just strange. See what you mean? Yeah, and see how the roof is angled like this? So if I put the board up, it's actually making the board shorter because it's rubbing against the side of the roof. So it's super annoying. Like, almost like you have to take it apart to get this in there, which is not possible to take it apart, obviously. I mean, I guess I could just work on the other ones. The problem is I think I need to get two boards in there because I'm trying to get them spaced at 16 inches, and I think there's more than 16 inches between this first board. Yeah, it's 20 inches or so. So I actually need to get two boards in there somehow if I want to do the 16-inch spacing. What a crazy problem. Never imagine. How about this? You build inner walls and just put up the flooring that way. Inner walls. This is what I'm worried about if I get someone to build the shed for me. I mean, I could technically have two boards and then sister them in the middle. I think it's called sistering when you have two boards that are together. But it wouldn't be as strong, and it would just annoy me that I have to do it that way. So I feel like there's some scientific method I'm missing out on. Kind of like when you need to get a couch or in through a door and go around a corner. There's like some magical way that you angle the couch. And I just haven't discovered it yet. But I think this is actually impossible unless I cut the board shorter, which I don't want to do because I want it to be as long as possible to get a good grip on the edge up there. You can't build upon the outer walls anymore. You'd be shrinking the inside square footage, but this is my idea for a work ring. Uh-oh. So stinking close though. What trick is there? I wonder if I actually sort of pull down in the middle to bend the board just slightly. It's so stinking close. Maybe I think I can pound it through. Here. The power of the fist. Okay. Got it. Right. So I still need to get a second board through there though. And the problem is the second board will have even less clearance because this one is going to push out the second board's capacity to go up in the corner. But we got that one in. It's a victory. Okay, so I think that the angle doesn't look right somehow. I don't understand. Maybe that little digital protractor is not accurate, or I just suck. I mean, I know I suck, so it's probably just me, but I must have let the angle on this thing. I had it loose, like this little tightener thing was loose, so maybe it just moved. That's my guess. Blame my ineptitude. Does that tube bend just enough by force straight up into the loft part? All right, well, we got that one in, but getting the next one, second one in there is gonna be interesting, if not impossible. But you can see, like on that side, I don't know, maybe you can't see, but it's clearly the angle is not right, so something messed up. It doesn't matter though, because they're not long enough to touch the boards anyway. I would have had to get a 12-foot board instead of a 10-foot. And then I'd be cutting quite a bit off of it. But let me try this again, see if I can get better, learn something, improve. I'm gonna try to measure that angle again and see what I did wrong, because I obviously did something wrong. Okay. Zeroed out. Measure this angle. Yeah, it's like 67.5 approximately. The other problem is like this thing can move pretty easily. So maybe when I was putting it up against the saw, I accidentally squeezed the end of it and changed the angle. Something like that. Otherwise, I don't really know why it was different. All right. Let's try this again. Oh yeah, it's not even close. I must have squeezed that protractor thing accidentally and changed the angle when I was lining it up. That's the only explanation I can think of. Now it should be more accurate. All right, next board. I think in my theory, my limited understanding, thinking, this one's going to be harder to get up there than the first one because that first one that's in there is creating an even smaller gap than was available to angle it up in. Since it's against the wall, I previously had the first board wedged all the way up against the wall, but now that board is 1.5 inches thick, pulling out that little space that I could use. So this might be impossible, but we'll try it anyway. I'm going to get something and I already forgot because I'm talking way too much. What was I gonna get? Oh, I was gonna get gloves. So I almost got a splinter as I was picking up that board and I just don't like that experience, so I'm going to avoid it entirely. Kind of a nice echo in here. Gloves! I don't know if that picks up on the microphone though. All right. There we go. I don't know why that power cord keeps pulling out of there, but I'll just put it back in. Okay. Might be thinking that cord is kind of in a dangerous place, isn't it? And I'd be like, yep, you're right. Let's move it so it can't possibly get cut by the saw blade. Ta-da! Okay. You can hear it, it's nice. So did you hear the saw when I turned it on earlier? Or is it the noise cancellation getting rid of it pretty successfully? Okay, here we go. Oh shoot, I forgot to crown the board. Let's just hope that I got these two right, because I didn't even think of that. This is not something I've done before. But I think it'll be fine. going to say that you can start cutting the wood anytime now since I couldn't hear anything. Noise canceling is great. Oh, that's sick. That's so cool. I don't know if you were here for my bookbinding live streams, but I was using a massively loud belt sander like right in front of the camera, and apparently it canceled it out entirely, which is amazing. I don't understand how that's possible, but it's pretty impressive. Okay, so here's moment of truth. Whether I can get the second board back there with the clearance that I have. I have my doubts, but yeah, because now I have like 1.5 inches less clearance, but I might be able to pull this first board up on top of the second one. Possibly, if I'm lucky. Sweet. Ta-da! Now it's on top of that one, so I have the same amount of clearance that I had. But I didn't cut off quite as much, so now I think it can wedge back there. Yeah. I think this board is like maybe slightly longer, or I maybe cut off more of that first one. I think it's just, the board must be just so slightly longer. Oh, let's see, what can I do? It's so annoying. Once I'm past this first board though, like the others, I can get it up there no problem. It's just this very first one that is the issue. I mean, I could just cut off a little bit more of the board. I think that's probably what I'm gonna have to do. Because it's like, I think it's like just 1 or 2 millimeters short of, or long of being able to fit in there. So I'll just cut off a tiny bit. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's see if that is enough to do it. Fingers crossed. I'll just keep cutting off little slivers until it is enough. It might actually do it. Need a second table in here so I don't have to keep reaching down to the floor. Go. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we did it. Success. All right, the rest should be easy peasy. I don't have to cut hardly anything off of any of the rest of them. It was mainly just these first two that I couldn't angle up there without cutting. I'll cut like a tiny corner off the rest of them, but not as much as these. I just need to make sure to center them so that the same amount is supported on either side. But had I tried to go the full 6 inches of spanning those boards up there, it would not have been possible for the reasons we have just determined. But it will be fully supported by 3.5 to 4 inches on both sides, which I think, you know, is sufficient. Anyway, it's too bad that these rafters are not 16-inch spaced, because then I could just tie them up next to them, but I want to space my boards every 16 inches. So I am going to, they won't be supported by the rafters, so they'll have some ability to tilt like this. So what I was thinking to do is put little 2x4s up on the rafters in between them. I mean, up on the, whatever you call this, the header, I don't know what it's called, the sill, whatever this is. I'll put little 2x4s in between each of these floor joists to keep them upright. It's probably not necessary, but I kind of tend to overdo things to make sure it's nice and strong. So yeah, we're good. I don't have a nail gun, so I have to manually nail them or use screws, which I only have screws currently, but I might end up going to buy some nails because they're cheaper and it's not really necessary to screw these boards in. The only reason I might want to screw them is if I thought there was a reason why I might want to remove them someday, but I can't unless we need to replace a broken one. I can't really see any reason to want to do that, so I think I'm okay. So yeah, but I do need to cut those intermediate boards, and it would be easier if I cut them beforehand. Quickly. Think about this for a second here. My math skills have declined greatly over the years. I used to be really good at math, but because I suck at it, I actually created a drawing that has everything to scale and positioned exactly so that I could measure off the scale drawing. So I have a scale set in the drawing, real world dimensions, so that I can just look at the drawing and measure things based off of that rather than trying to trust my brain's ability to measure things. Let me go back to my computer to show what I'm talking about. Maybe I can show it, maybe I can't, I don't know. Well, of course I can, but I don't want to spend a ton of time trying to figure it out. To scale, yes. I've known how to do that kind of stuff since like the 90s. Just because I used CorelDRAW way back when, and thankfully I'm using Affinity Designer now, and it also has a scale feature, so that's nice. All right, let me see if I can figure this out. I need to duplicate this scene somehow and put a... Actually, I could just throw a screen capture in there. That would be the easiest, quickest way. Might already have one in there, actually. Nope. Okay, let me grab that real quick and get this open. You really just need a big piece of paper. True, that would do it too, but I find it easier. I'll show you what I mean. When you see what I mean, you'll understand why it's cool, I guess, maybe. This is for the the mathematically challenged people like me. Otherwise, this would not be necessary. Okay, here we go. Now I just need to add a window capture, I guess, so that would work. Window capture. What? Why isn't it showing? Like it's showing gray in there for some reason. Instead of, that's weird. It's not showing the document contents for some reason. What are the shed's dimensions? It's approximately 10 feet by 20 feet, but those are the outside dimensions. So that's like, yeah, you have to like actually measure it to get inside to get proper dimensions because of all the, you know, the siding and the sheets on the outside, the OSB or whatever it is, plus the studs, you know. You could get a fairly estimated dimension just by estimating, but every single one is different. Like you would think it's just perfectly straight, so it's 10 by 20, but every single stud is slightly different off. Height, it's about, I think it's about 80 inches up to those, the top of those header boards. Like where I'm installing the 2x6s on top of them, it's about 80 inches from the floor to that height. But when I measured various studs across the shed, like one side was 80.5, the other side was 80, another one was 80.25. So it's just like not exact, but you know, I guess that's just the way construction works. I'm sure if you work in construction, you know that none of the measurements are usually exact, and none of that matters as long as you're aware of it. Okay, why is this, I'm trying to figure out why it's showing that dark gray. Maybe I have to do this. It's not showing the background of the thing. Why is that? Like it's not showing my document. Weird. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so this is the drawing I came up with. So everything's spaced to scale exactly. I measured everything, and so these are 16-inch on center. So this green thing, I don't know if you can see, but like the width is 4 feet and the height is 8 feet down here in the corner. So this represents like a piece of plywood or an OSB or whatever we're going to use. And so I spaced these joists to be exactly how big they need to be. So the reason this stuff kind of breaks my brain is this first one is not on center. Normally you do 16 inches on center, but the first one is up against the wall. And so my brain just can't. I'm not good at math anymore. I used to be, but I tend to make dumb mistakes when I'm doing this kind of stuff. So I'd rather just trust this. So I have this measuring tool. I can measure from the center of this to the edge of the wall. And it's 1.349 feet. Of course, I hate the fact that decimals, like some parts of me wish that it was, everything was in metric, because then you can actually use decimal points rather than, you know, like half inches, 16th inches. I hate that stuff. Since I've never worked in construction for a long time, I don't have a super familiarity with what 0.349 would be in like 16ths or whatever. So anyway, it's like 1.34 feet. So how do I figure how many inches that is? Maybe this isn't going to help because it's in decimals. 0.33. I guess that would be about 8 inches. Is that 8 inches? No. 4 inches. 1 foot 4 inches. Is that right? Because 1.333 would be a third of a foot, which is 4 inches. So yeah, that's 1 foot 4 inches. Wait, that's 16 inches. Oh, that's because, yeah, that's 16 inches. I guess I didn't do on center on this first one. And the ones that are in the middle of the board don't really matter. It's mainly this third one over here that has to be on center. Otherwise, the plywood won't hit the center of the board. But these ones in the middle don't matter as much. But I guess I'll just go with, yeah, 16 inches. That's 16. Is this second one like 32 then? Let me see. It's 2.67 feet. What is that? 24 plus 8. Yeah, so that's 32. Okay, so 16 inches on center from the edge of the structure is good. Okay, that answered my question. My brain just can't handle that kind of logic anymore. As I've gotten older, I know it's shameful and embarrassing, but that kind of basic stuff boggles my brain, so I have to actually visualize it in order to understand it. Otherwise, I'd probably make a mistake. Why isn't that showing? Why isn't that camera showing? Was it like that for a long time where it wasn't showing? Let's see, how do I fix that? Hope the battery didn't run out on my phone. How do I fix that? Studio mode. Go to camera. Where's it? Refresh. There we go. I just had to refresh the source. I don't know why it goes out to lunch sometimes. Hopefully it wasn't like that for a super long time. All right. Okay, we're good. Now I can go back out and continue with my fumbling around with random crap. Okay. Hey, we're back. Okay. Yeah, I'm using Video Ninja, which is a very amazing tool. It allows you to use your phone as a wireless camera. But unfortunately, if the connection is ever lost temporarily, it sometimes doesn't come back unless you refresh the browser source on the host computer, meaning the one that has OBS on it. And that part of it is a pain. Don't like it. Because if you're out and about like hiking, like I go on hiking streams and try to do that method and it goes out to lunch, I just won't know about it. And there's usually no one in my streams to tell me. So that's a pain in the butt. Okay. This is way longer process than it should be, but this is what it looks like when a non-builder does building stuff. A person that was a professional builder would have had all of this figured out in like 30 seconds, but not me. Okay, so I want to get this 16 inches on the center. At least approximately close enough. It's meant to be to the millimeter. Actually kind of amazed that that makes sense mathematically, that it's 16 inches on center, but I guess my brain is just dumb. All right. I hate the English system though. Like everything's halves and fourths and 16ths and eighths and all 30-seconds and all 64ths. All that stuff is trash. My brain cannot make sense of that stuff at all. Okay, so what's the distance between, because like The crazy thing is, a standard board is called a 2x4, but it's actually a 1.5 by 3.5. So if you want to split the middle of a board, what's half of 1.5? Well, isn't that like 3/4 of an inch or something? But that's so stupid, like the worst. Whoever came up with that system is, I'm not going to say they should be shot because I'm not that kind of guy, but basically in the soft expression of what that means, nobody actually means they should be shot, but you know what I mean. It's just a stupid system. The worst. Okay, so that is, what's the space between these anyway? I need to cut 2x4s to be the length of the distance between these. It looks like it's 13 3/4 or something. The other thing is these studs over here, each one is sticking out a slightly different distance. So while this board over here is up against some of them, there's a gap between others. So it's very non-exact science. Yep. Once upon a time, a 2x4 was actually a 2x4. Like in the old cabin structure over there that was built like 45, 50 years ago, something like that. The 2x4s are actual dimension. I think it's called dimensional lumber. I'm not sure. Dimensional lumber either means the original actual sizes are correct or it means the opposite. I don't remember. But basically the ones in the old structure are literally 2 inches and they look huge. If you saw them, you'd be like, whoa, that's a big board. But yeah, actual lumber now, it's smaller than what they say. It's a 1/2 inch in either dimension smaller. So a 2x4 is 1.5 by 3.5. A 2x6 is 1.5 by 5.5, and so on. It's gonna throw off my calculations. Yeah, it's very irritating. Like well, you live in the US. Yeah, you're in California, so it's the same. For some reason I was thinking, wait, you speak Spanish? No, you don't. You don't actually speak Spanish, but you have Spanish heritage. I don't know. I always associate you with Spanish stuff. But I know you live in California. So in California, everything is the same, but I guess I was thinking of Turo, like if he was building something down in Mexico. Or he lives in the US too, doesn't he? Why do I think, where does he live? I don't even know. Would you think that it's to compensate for the drywall? I don't know. I think honestly it's to save money, but you'd have to look up the history of why 2x4s are no longer 2x4s to answer that question. My guess is it's all about saving a little bit of money by giving you less material, but there's probably some other reason for it. I don't know. Who lives where? Does Senor Burro, does he live in Mexico or something, or is he living in the US? I don't know him that well to know. But one person I know who does live in Mexico is my friend El Muerto. I think he lives in Mexico City or thereabouts. He's on Kick. He's a good friend. Boston. Sweet. I did not know that. Is he like just completely American? He's not even like he considers himself American, or was he like born somewhere else and his parents and family moved here? Because I literally have no idea. I don't talk to him that much. But basically my knowledge of him is through Kame, because Kame is friends with him, but I'm not really friends with Burrow, although, you know, indirectly through Kame, but I haven't talked to him much. Interesting. Sorry if I sound racist by assuming that he lived in Mexico, but for some reason I thought he did. But my friend El Muerto on Kick does live in Mexico, and he has like no accent either, so it's kind of confusing. I get everybody mixed up. He knows some Spanish, but apparently I can speak more than him. His family lives near him, yes. Oh, all right, well, thanks for clearing that up. I had no idea. Now I know. Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. Never give up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American. Wait, why does it say he? Like G.I. Joe is not really a person. I mean, I guess there is a guy called Joe, but all of them are G.I. Joe. Does it literally say he? Someone should look up that song. His family's from Colombia. Okay, fair enough. I guess I was racially profiling. For some reason I thought he was from Mexico, but I really didn't know. So he's basically he's just American. How funny. I guess maybe the reason I assumed that is because of all of his, like his names on various platforms are Spanish. And I just assumed, poorly assumed. Oh well, I apologize if that offends anybody. I'm actually not that way. I don't think of anybody differently no matter where they're from, what they look like. All right, so let's see. What was I gonna do? I was gonna, oh, I need some 2x4s to cut, to put in between those things. Actually, I wanted to measure this because I'm still not confident about this. If you wanted to know about my circumstance, Dad's family lived in Cali, except for one uncle brother back in South America and Mom's family. Yeah, you've told me about that. Don't they? Let's see. 1.2 feet. What is 1.2? What's the 1/10 of a foot? Oh, I hate this system. It's garbage. The whole inches and stuff. Oh man, it's trash. I hate it. 1.14. It's half of that. I have no idea. I actually have no idea how to calculate this stuff, even when I'm looking at my drawings. You told me where your family's from, and I completely forgot. Let me go look at a map of South America and see if I can make an educated guess based on the ones I see. Because I feel like I should know that. South America map. Let's see. Not Chile, it's not Argentina. Ecuador. I think it's Ecuador. Anyway, I could be wrong. Both I still live in South America except for brother, uncle in the UK, and a nephew, my cousin in California. Gotcha. Cool, cool. Okay, let's see. Yay, I remembered something. That's amazing. Old people can do stuff too. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna have to wing it because I can't comprehend this. No, I'm gonna get a piece of paper so I can draw stuff just like ZJ suggested. It's a good idea. I do have like I think I'm a visual learner, but I'm also an audio learner because, like, for example, I like listening to audio Bibles. I absorb stuff way better that way. But apparently I'm also a visual learner, but I am not a normal learner. Whatever that means, like the way that normal people comprehend things, I seem to be lacking a lot of brain power that way. Okay. And yeah, what's normal? I don't know what normal is. I'm just generalizing. I have no idea. Maybe I'm more normal by being a visual learner. I have no clue what the most common way is. Oh, cool, I found a clipboard. I didn't know if I'd be able to find one in the absolute mess. Parents went to visit one of my dad's sisters today, but I opted to stay home, enjoying my time at home. I'm a hands-on learner, at least with pictures. Yeah, I guess tangible. Kinetic, I don't know. Is there something that's like a tangible learner, like you either see or feel or hear things, and you learn better? Learn by doing. I don't know what the word for that is. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like, if someone tries to teach me something, but I've never done it myself, I'm not gonna understand. Okay, so let's see. Try to make sense of this here. So we got a 2x4 running here. Worst drawing ever. You probably can't see it because of the lighting. Got 2x4 This is 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. And I need to figure out how much to the center of the next, no, to the edge of the next board. So this is 1.5. I need this to be 16. To the center of the next board. 16 from the wall to the center. This is also 1.5, so half of that is, this part right here is 3/4. This is 1.5. Can't I do this? So 16 minus 3/4 minus 1 1/2. So so 15 1/4. I can't do this math. I can't do fractional math in my head at all. What's 16 minus 3/4 minus 1 1/2? Let's see. How do I add these together? That would be 2 1/4 total, minus 2 1/4. So minus, it would be 13 3/4. Is that right? 13 3/4 is what my terrible brain comes up with. But I could be completely wrong. That's why I don't like doing this kind of crappy math in my head. Like I just can't do it. Can't do it at all. 13 3/4 is what I'm coming up with. Maybe I should double check that on one of my phones. So 16. Calculator, where's the calculator? minus 0.75 minus 1.5. 13.75. Okay, I was correct. Good. I did something. Yeah, so I think I'm right. It's 13 3/4. So that's how long I need to cut the 2x4s that I put up in between the floor joists to stabilize them. So I need to cut 2. See, like if we would have just used the metric system, you could just do, I mean, everything's easier. When I'm doing my book binding, for example, or anything small, I always use centimeters and millimeters because math is so much easier on the metric system because you just use a calculator. You don't have to do all this stupid fractional math. Fractional math sucks. It's not that I don't know how to do it. I do. You know, you can make them all the same denominator. So 1/2 is 2/4 to be compatible with 3/4, and then you can do it easier. But doing that in your head, you can't do that. All right, so we need 13 3/4. Where is my measuring tape? I took it out there already a bit. Underneath something. Not in my pocket. Where did I put it? Oh, it's probably up on top. Oh, I left it. Oh, there it is. $13 3/4. You also have to allow for the width of the blade, so you want to cut the measurement on the outside of your mark. I'm no pro, but I at least know that much. Okay. Make this straight again. All right. Good. All right, let's go check this before I cut another one, just in case my math is garbage or some other problem arises. I wish I could show a camera like first person perspective so you could see what I'm looking at when I'm up on the ladder, but you'll just have to deal with the lack of experience. So this is 13 3/4. I guess I should double check that because maybe I actually measured that wrong. Even when I'm measuring stuff, I don't trust that I do it right because I just kind of an old saying, measure twice, cut once, because you might measure it wrong. And I find myself doing that a lot. So I have this in the gap. Now I'm going to measure whether this is 16 inches on center, which, yeah, it is. Yay, we accomplished something. Yep, so 13 3/4 is the magic number. So I need to cut one more of these. Go on the other side. In retail, I could calculate within maybe $1 how much a customer was expected to pay for a thing, including discounts and tax. That's impressive. Is that because you knew the pricing, or you just were like, price is right, you just know how much a bottle of soap ought to cost? Or did you have all of that stuff in your head? I used to work at a wholesaler company that had 14,000 products, and I had a ton of the product numbers memorized because I was the one doing the data entry and product setup. So I pretty much knew like a great number of the common products, but all of that's gone out of my head now. Useless information. Okay. Double check, because I literally don't trust any time I measure anything. Just don't trust it. I had all the info right there with me. Oh, gotcha. Missed opportunity for those glasses with the internet in the lens. Could have been first-person streaming. Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I don't like invasive technology like the HoloLens, the Microsoft HoloLens, or any of that stuff. I don't like it because I'm kind of anti-tech, and even though I'm a techie guy, I don't like the fact that the world is becoming digitized and all that stuff, and robotic and AI, and I don't like that. But that's one thing I would consider using, even though I'm against all that stuff, is just some tool that could allow me to have chat in a screen on my glasses. And also have a camera on the lens so it could show what I'm looking at. That would be amazing. For streaming purposes, but for regular everyday stuff, I would never want to have that thing on my face. Victor, hey man, how's it going? Welcome to the channel, or the chat, whatever. All right, so I need to try to center this thing as best as I can. Yeah, I can get a visual up here. It's not hard to visualize when it's centered or not, quite honestly. Yeah, so like it's hard to explain or even for you to visualize from down there, but this board here, see how there's two boards stacked on top of each other? This one is a 2x4. This one is a 2x6. So the studs are 2x4s, and that's what this one is, but the top one sticks out a little bit, and I guess that gives the roof on the outside a little bit of a tiny bit of a lip on the outside so that the water runs down, not straight down on the siding. I guess that's why they do it that way. But because of that, it's hard to visualize centering this board. It's hard to explain, but Google Glass or that other one, but I'd hope that there's an option to automatically blur faces instead of post-editing. Oh, yeah. I guess with eventually, like probably our Look, I'm not gonna have any kids, let's be real, but I was gonna say our kids, but the next generation will probably experience augmented reality, maybe 2 generations from now, because it's already been around, but it doesn't seem to be catching on. Nobody thinks it's cool, which I'm glad for. I hope people continue with that attitude, because I don't think it's good for people to have that whole Ready Player One experience. But at any rate, probably the next generation or 2 is going to have that experience, and yeah, woe to them, or woe to society. I guess I'm just old. Maybe it'll be a good thing, but to me, I don't think it's gonna be great. Okay. Yeah, I just have to kind of ballpark getting this in the center. So let's see. Question though is, I could probably get away with putting this 2x4 flat down like that and then just nailing it down in there. Of course, it would offer more support if it was up like this, but then I'm gonna have to nail stuff in weird angles and crap. It's gonna be way harder. Like I said, I don't have a nail gun, so I'm gonna have to manually nail or screw all this stuff together. And it would be easier for me if it was flat down like this. But then it wouldn't offer much vertical support, so I should definitely have it vertical, just so it actually accomplishes what I'm putting it there for, to offer more support so these boards don't skew down with pressure. But it's annoying because that means it's more difficult for me. Let's see. I hate trying to screw stuff at an angle. It's super difficult. I've done enough construction to know that it's not easy to do. I think they call it toe nailing on, like for example, if you were to put a nail up into this board at an angle so that it goes through this board and into this board, I think that's called toe nailing. And it's really hard to do because as you're pounding the nail this way, this board is wanting to move that way unless it's really tight. And also it might split the end, and if you don't get the angle right, it might come out the other side or not go in deep enough. It's kind of a learned skill that once you know how to do it, it's probably easy, but since I don't have a lot of experience, it's kind of a pain. That roof lip overlap hang would be ideal for wasps to set up their homes there. Yeah, I don't think there's any vents though, or, I mean, I suppose if they were the kind that could eat through wood, they could get in there, but there's no actual way to get in there currently. So I'm hoping there won't be any kind of major problems. Probably not for a while, until it's kind of old and the wood is rotting and they can get inside, but only the roof wasn't installed yet. All right, I know exactly, like if I would have been able to do this before the roof was on, I could have just easily done, except the problem is, if I did that, then all my stuff, the loft, would be in the way of the roof being put on, so you'd have the reverse problem. You wouldn't have a place to put the rafters. So yeah, it's probably better to do it this way. Okay. Anyway, this is what it looks like when a complete buffoon tries to do carpentry. I generally know how to figure stuff out, but I'm very slow. This is like slow learning demo. But I mean that wasps would be too close to your face. See, yes. We have pretty big wasps here too, like giant yellow jackets and these huge bees and stuff. But generally the yellow jackets are the most annoying because the more you wave them away, the more aggressive they get. Can't stand those things. We have hornets too, but not like on the property that I'm aware of. When I'm out hiking, I've seen them and I've actually been attacked by them. Gotten a couple stings. Just have to run away like the cartoons. But okay, so that's kind of ready to go. I guess I have this kind of figured out, more or less, but it's very slow. I'm annoyed that I have to screw in everything at an angle though, because it's super difficult and annoying. I guess I could go get my, I know this is weird, nobody else does this, but I'm actually gonna go get my, what do you call them, clamps, so I can clamp that piece of wood down while I'm screwing it so it doesn't move around. You'll see what I'm talking about because I'll change the camera angle, but it's super dumb. Nobody would do this except for me. Okay, clamps, here we come. This will help make it easier. The person that actually does construction would totally be laughing right now if they watched my live stream. It'd be pretty hilarious for them, but I don't care. At least I am trying to do a good job. I don't think I'm doing anything bad. I'm just making it take longer and more complicated than that needs to be. But as far as like doing it wrong or something, I don't think so. Maybe somebody with super picky technicalities would say I'm doing it all wrong, but I think it'll be fine. I vaguely remember hearing about those oversized Japanese hornets in your... Oh, we don't have those. Those are nasty. I read about those too. They're like 2 inches long, or they're just like giant, kind of orange and black. Those actually freak me out. If I saw one of those, I would literally be afraid. I don't get fearful, but if I saw one of those, I would be running so hard, picking up something to try to swat them with, but shoot, keep stepping on that cord. Okay. Yeah, as far as I know, we don't have those here. They have those stingers on the back of them that look like nails. Giant things. That is freaky. Okay, so just to show you what I'm doing. A bit anyway. So the problem is, as I have to like screw this down at an angle to get into this board because it's like vertical and kind of loose. But as I'm screwing it, I feel like it'll slip back this way and not be straight anymore. So very basic. This is really goofy. Nobody on earth except for me would do this, but I'm gonna use these clamps just to hold it in place while I'm screwing it down. I know, crazy. Nobody else would spend this much time doing something so basic, but call me basic. I don't care. I want this to line up properly, so that's how I'm gonna do it. There. Now it can't move as easily, except I'm gonna put this over this way a little. Kind of in the center. There we go. There, now it can't really move around much. This cord is super annoying. It keeps getting pulled out as I'm moving around. Probably could just leave it unplugged because I think this phone has enough charge on it. But I have this portable battery bank that I had it plugged into just so I didn't lose it. That basic insult reminded me of Reboot when two of the main characters were yelling basic and random to each other. Actually, I haven't seen that, but I can picture that expression being used. All right, so now I have some screws somewhere that I can use. Technically, nails would probably be more appropriate for this because I need like 50 million screws to do this. I think I'll screw this first one just because I don't have any nails right now, but I think I'm gonna go to the store later and get some nails. And then for the rest of the stream, I'll just cut stuff and not fasten it up there because I don't want to do it without the nails. But yeah, nails would be, I feel like, more suitable for this. I like using screws for everything, but they're kind of expensive. And so I feel like it's kind of a waste to use so many screws for such a simple purpose like this. So that's probably why I will go get some nails later. But I've got these nice long screws that will do the trick. Actually, I'm not gonna screw anything in. I'm just gonna wait till I go get nails. So I'll just do some cutting today. So I won't even finish that today because I'm just so slow at this. All right. Now that I know the approximate dimensions and setup of things, I should be able to go a little bit faster on some of this kind of thing. But I have to reset that angle. 67 degrees approximately. But since I don't trust my memory, I'm gonna go measure it again. That's so funny. I don't know why I thought Burrow was from another country. It could be that I was just mistaking, like clouding my memories between my friend El Muerto and him. I'm more familiar with my friend El Muerto because I've actually talked to him, but I've barely talked to Burrow. Okay. Oh, I forgot, I need to crown these boards. Crowning just means, and I just learned this, I didn't know this before, but I was watching somebody build a loft on YouTube. So I'll take this in here just to pass on the little bit of knowledge that I have. Very, very little, very basic. But I guess every board has a slight bend to it. They're not perfectly straight. So they're arced, they're cupped either like this way or the other way. They're just slightly bent. And so you just look down with your eye, put your eye on one end of it and look for the bend in the board. And you want all of your boards to be cupped so that the center is higher than the edges, just so that your loft isn't like dipping down in the middle. So you just put whatever cup there is pointing upward, and that's called crowning the boards, I guess. Technically he is, but I don't know nationality and ethnicity semantics. Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not really into the whole politically correct thing, but I do care about people. Like, I don't care about politics, but I do care about people, so I don't like to say something that sounds like I don't care about them, or I am misjudging them or something like that. Let's see. This one actually looks pretty flat, honestly. Can't tell if it's curved at all. It's basically flat, so I don't detect a curve one way or the other. I see a curve like sideways, but not like from top to bottom. If anything, I think this is I don't know, can't tell. I actually can't tell, it looks completely straight to me. So bad example. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say that this side is up, so let me mark that before I forget. But yeah, I mean, that's dumb to say technically he is if it's like 300 years ago. Like, for example, pretty much everybody 300 years ago wasn't in America, except for the Native Americans. So yeah, then you're just getting into stupid technicalities. It's like my ancestors came from Europe somewhere, a bunch of different countries and intermixed, but I don't consider myself European. You know, I'm American, so I feel like it gets goofy at a certain point. Okay. Okay, let me set this angle again since I messed it up. I guess it's up to each person what they want to consider themselves. Like if their ancient ancestors came from, like, I don't want to get into politics, but I don't like calling people African American, for example, because I don't know if they're actually from Africa. Just because they're dark skinned doesn't mean they're from Africa. Maybe they just want to be called American, or they don't really want you to talk about their race. They just don't even care. Like, I don't care. So why should I impose some kind of racial profiling on somebody? I think it's dumb, but that's just my opinion. Okay. All right. Oh, I almost forgot to put my ear and eye protection on. Okay. And we're all technically European when we used to toilet. Indeed. It's a good joke. It's not bad. What you talking about, Willis? It's the best joke I've heard in the last 5 minutes. Okay. Or am I? I don't know what that's from. I'm too old to understand all the youngins' cultural references. Okay, let's see. Barely need to cut anything off of this, so just the top corner here. I feel like I know that one. Like, I think it's from some movie, and let's see, or am I? Oh, I totally know a movie that has that in it. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. Oh, shoot, I wish I could remember that. Ah, it's gonna bug me. Okay. There's a response to my earlier chat that said sorry for the bad joke. Oh, okay. But there's some movie that I watched not that long ago. Somebody trying to be invisible, maybe? Like they think they're invisible, but they're not. What is that movie? It's like some guy that thinks he has a superpower ability to be invisible, and he's like, or am I? No, I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm never gonna think of it. Too old to memory of things. Okay. 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 It's gonna bug me though. There's some movie that I watched not that long ago that has the guy saying that phrase, and it's funny. I'm not gonna be able to remember it. Okay. All right, so I'm just arbitrarily cutting these corners off. I'm not measuring it because I know it's a small amount that needs to be cut off. I don't feel like it's super crucial that I get it exactly right. Oh, this second one might be just nope, not quite as difficult to get in there. It's actually not a problem. Okay, it looks like I cut off enough. It's possible that the corners on these don't need to be cut, but I think they just barely do to fit up there. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Move this stupid camera around all the time. Yeah, they fit. Good. All right, so I figured I needed 7. 1, 2, 3. I need 7 per side. I'm only gonna do one of the sides today. In my case over here, where I'd like a storage shed for myself, there's one that already exists there, but it was termite damaged. It's very old. I'd want to replace it. Yeah, I was, before my parents, like, I can't afford this either. I have literally no money. My parents bought this shed because it's on their property, but they're basically doing it also to help me out so that I can start a business inside the space. Super generous and helpful of them. They're really pretty much the best parents in the universe. But yeah, before they were willing to buy a shed, I was looking at like used sheds on Craigslist that were free, like junky metal sheds, and also I was even willing to use, oh, I forgot to check the crown on this one. I'll try to see if I can see an arch in it at all. These ones are looking really flat to me, but I guess there's a slight arch this way. I was looking at even like used RVs and trailers that I could convert to just a small shop area. It'd be totally ghetto, but I just needed a way to get started, and then maybe after I had money I could build a shop. But yeah. Additionally, the cement underneath has cracks, so I'd like to replace that too. Gotcha. Yeah, I really enjoy doing this kind of work. I don't think I could do it as a career because I have lots of back issues that keep me from doing manual labor, but I enjoy doing it as a hobby and little small projects. I think I inherited some of that from my grandpa. He's kind of my hero in life, and he used to like to work with wood, and I don't know, I feel like I'm a lot like him actually. Not as amazing as he is, but I think I have some of his character traits, I guess. Or he was. Unless you're talking about spiritual faith stuff, because he still is. Because he knew Jesus and he's in heaven now. Okay. Yeah, getting in between these rafters actually is kind of difficult. I have to do the weird angling thing on every single one of them. Why this one's tighter than the other ones? I guess I didn't cut off as much from the top. I don't actually know which side of the rafter that one will have to be on to be exactly 16 inches. Hopefully it doesn't end up being that the rafter is in the way, because that's the one that should be 4 feet exactly, so it lines up with the side of a board. I mean the side of a 4x8 sheeting. So let's see. Let's check that one. Oh good, so that one is actually supposed to be on the other side of the rafter. So let me put that one back where it was. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Just need to cut 3 more. I guess I could cut all 3 and then cut all 3 at one time instead of doing this back and forth silliness. Ugh. Now it's really hard to detect the crown or the warping in the boards. It's so minimal, it's negligible, it seems like. Oh. This board has a crack in the end of it. I hope that doesn't weaken it enough to matter on the end. The only reason I'm willing to reach under the blade like that is because it has this protective covering. Otherwise, that would be terribly unsafe. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to do the back and forth thing, even though I just said that I could cut them all before doing it, because I need to get these out of my way to cut the next one, so logic wins the day. I just didn't have it all figured out in my brain. Looking pretty good though. I'm actually getting stuff done. That's encouraging. I could have gone on a hike today. I kind of thought it was supposed to be pretty cold, but it's not that cold. Like, it's compared to how cold it's been in the winter. It's pretty warm actually. Kind of the perfect temperature for this kind of work though. Don't get overheated. But I'm not cold, so it's just right. Okay, this one actually does have a crown to it. Slight bend. This one has some splits in it, but hopefully not enough that it will be structurally compromised. It's actually pretty hard to get good clean boards from a big box store. Like, they're either massively warped, have splits in them, or big chunks missing out of them. So whenever I get boards, I always like individually pick them through the pile. I don't just grab them from the top. Same when I'm shopping for like veggies, I always look for the best possible ones. Always feels good when you're being productive and the weather isn't too extreme. Yeah, for sure. Missed opportunity for me though. Shopping around for a stainless steel sink for our backyard. I'm picky. Nice. I actually want to get a utility sink for my marbled paper work that I'm intending to eventually do on stream. Yeah, I think there's actually a massively old utility sink under the deck, and I might pull that out and try to build a framework around it so I can use it for that purpose. But yeah, kind of reminds me of that. Anyway, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just one more, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, just, wait a minute. 2. Might need 8 on each side. I was thinking to double up the last board on the loft so that when you go up there and have all your weight on it, it would be doubly strong. For some reason, I thought I only needed 7. Maybe I'll have to look at my drawing again, but 1, this is half. 2. So I guess I need 8 per side, not 7. Second reason for wanting to have 2 on the end is not just so it's stronger on the edge when you're entering the loft, but also I'm gonna have like a little, I don't know if you remember from my drawing early in the stream, but I had this support thing going across from this side of the loft to the other side of the loft. That's because there's gonna be like a makeshift staircase going up, and it needs like a landing in between the 2 sides to go on. So that's why I want these last ones to be doubled up so it's super strong for that landing support between the 2 lofts. So anyway, that's that. So yeah, I need 8 per side. Part of the reason I know this is embarrassing to say, I shouldn't even say it on stream, but I actually kind of wanted to build this loft by myself because I think my dad would have done 24-inch spacing instead of 16, and I just wanted to like really do it strong. And he tends to like say, why are you doing that? Like that's not necessary or whatever, but I want to like make it super strong. And I think he'll be happy in the end when he sees that I did it stronger than necessary. But I just wanted to be happy that, you can only build this once. You can't like take it all apart and redo it. So I didn't want to regret later that it's 24-inch on center instead of 16, especially if people are going to be sleeping up there eventually. I wanted to make sure it was pretty strong. So yeah, so I'm actually doing it more like stronger than probably my dad would do if he was here. And I think I would have a hard time convincing him to do it this way, but I think in the end it's a good decision. Okay. Because we actually didn't get enough, when he was here last week, we didn't get enough boards to do it with the 16-inch on center, so I'm actually gonna have to go buy a couple boards, 2 or 3 to finish this properly, but I think it's just something I want to do to make sure it's adequately strong. Okay, I think that's crowned that way. off enough on that one because I was trying to cut off less and less so that I only cut off the bare minimum to get it up there, but I think we're good. Yeah, we're still good. We barely have to cut off anything to get it to fit up there. So the less is better. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So I just need to cut one more to be the double up on this last one. So it's 8 per side. All right, one more, and then I only have 2 left, but I think we have 2 or 3 more somewhere else. So that'll be 5. So I think I need to only buy 3 more, which is like, they're about $10 each, so $30, it's not that bad. Spend $30 to have a way stronger loft, and then you won't have any regrets. I just feel like those kind of decisions are worth it. 30 bucks, like what's 30 bucks in the grand scheme of things? And it'll be way stronger. Totally worth it. I might actually have to buy an extra 2x6. Actually, yeah, I'll have to buy one extra one for that span in between, maybe 2 extra ones for that stair landing thing I was talking about. And then I might have to buy more than that for the stairs themselves. I've been doing a bunch of research about collapsible stairs and stuff, and I might end up building something kind of cool for that. I haven't decided yet, because there's a limited span of length for the stairs to go up, so it's gonna have to be a pretty steep pitch. And I don't want to do those standard attic pull down stairs because then you'd have to waste part of your floor for that to exist on, and so I'm gonna try something else. And I would just do a ladder, but my parents are getting older and I don't want them to be safety compromised going up there later in life if they're going to be around here, so need it to be kind of old people safety conscious to some degree. This is kind of what I'm talking about, like when you go to big box stores and get wood, there's always like little chunks missing and imperfections that probably don't matter, but I always try to get ones with the least amount of those problems, faults. The ultimate example is this piece right here that they put in here, which is kind of, they probably should have been more careful, but you got this nasty board in here. Oops. I don't know if you can see that in there with the shadows, but there's a big chunk of this board missing in here. Like on the frame, I could have chosen a better board for that. One idea I've seen in a tiny home program is that there's a staircase that goes up on its inside perimeter of the space, and each step is storage underneath the step, all going up to loft space. Yeah, I was thinking of something like that. I was actually thinking of a rolling staircase that's the shelf that would go up against the wall, and then you could roll it out into place. And I might still end up going with something like that. But I've also seen these really cool expandable things. Maybe I can show you just for fun on the stream. They're really cool, but it's impossible to explain in a short number of words, but there's some issues with that design for my space because you think about the rise and run of each step. Standard is 11 wide and 7 high. But I have to go a much steeper pitch because the width of the shed is only less than 10 feet, so to go from 0 to 80 inches in that amount of space, I have to make it pretty steep. Let's see if I can find So here's an example of one. They're pretty expensive. Like I've seen these, you know, quite a bit, but basically like this folds down. So I don't know if I have any pictures here that kind of show that, but there we go. So yeah, it like folds up to the wall, but then folds down into a staircase like that. But the problem is most of these use a lot of parts, like a bunch of hinges on each stair. And so it'd be quite expensive to buy all the parts necessary. Plus, if they're hinges, then the screws, if the screws and the hinges aren't super strong, then the weight of a person could pull the screws out of the hinges on one side. One side would be strong because the hinge would be on the bottom, but the other side has to have the hinge on the top, so the screws are pulling upward, and your weight could pull the screws out of the stair, depending on how it's designed. Anyway, I'm not totally satisfied with that design, but it's pretty cool. My idea was to essentially do something like this, but up at the top it would have a hinge so that the whole staircase could not only expand like this, but swing up into the side of the loft. But I don't know if it's possible, but anyway, this is kind of what I want to do, something like that. But I might also end up doing a rolling staircase that turns into a shelf on the wall, and you just roll it out whenever you need it, but we'll see. I haven't decided. Oops. I have no idea what I just did. Nothing. Okay, I pushed a button on my keyboard and it opened a browser window, which is weird. I must have hit the browser button on the top of the keyboard. Blah, blah, blah. Oh well, if you start the steps right next to the door, like immediately to the left or right of the door, then you can use 2 walls for your staircase. Yeah. I'm actually there's gonna be a ton of rolling stuff in there. I might end up streaming some of it if my parents aren't here when I'm doing it. I don't like to stream when my parents are here, but I'm gonna build a bunch of stuff. Like I have to build some workbenches for my workspace, and I might stream that. We'll see. It was kind of fun to stream. I mean, it's not content that most people watch, but I like just doing stuff and sharing it with the world if anyone's interested. If not, then it doesn't matter. I don't consider myself a pro content creator or anything. I just do it for fun, as everybody knows. Step staircase. Ooh. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna make some rolling workbenches and some. I'm actually gonna make a rolling wall. Like, it's hard to explain, but it's not gonna be on this side, but on the other side where the other loft is gonna be. I'm actually gonna make a wall that comes right up to the bottom of these, maybe a ½ inch short of it. And then you can roll the entire wall anywhere in the shop. But it'll separate basically underneath the other side of the loft. It'll create a room over there, and that's where I'm gonna have my shop business area. This side will just be for storage, but the other side I'll have that wall separating it, and that wall you can just like roll it around underneath the loft and stuff. Nice sticker. I'm not a pro watcher either. Nice. Yes, you are. You're totally a pro watcher. Very interactive. Like a barn door. No, it's not going to roll side to side like this on a rail. The whole thing, the whole wall is going to be on 4 casters, like rolling casters. So the wall will come straight down from the edge of the loft on the other side. But then you can just literally roll it out and against the wall. On one side of the wall is going to be shelves that'll be facing that direction toward the shop in that area. And so, but that whole thing, it'll be like a rolling, basically a rolling shelf that's almost as tall as this loft. So you can use it as a wall or as a shelf. Anyway, that'll be an eventual addition. I'm all about rolling things. Like I feel like every piece of furniture should have wheels on the bottom of it. It's so much better. I love it. Like I put wheels on so many things. I might also do like a live stream. I created this rolling platform that's eventually going to be used for storing firewood, but I might do a live stream where I'm walking on top of it and juggling my soccer ball, because it can kind of roll around while I'm walking, and I would have to limit my soccer juggling to being on that platform lest I fall and hurt myself. So it'd be kind of fun just as a exercise thing. But anyway. All right, so what was I doing? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just need to cut one more for this space. I don't know where I put my gloves. I took them off when I went inside to show that staircase, and I probably left them in there because I don't see them out here. So I'll probably get a splinter. Murphy's Law. Oh, I already have the board out here. Silly me. I already cut the others. I actually cut both sides, so finished. I just didn't take it back inside. Silly me. Distracted with myself. Okay. So this is the last one that's gonna sister, I believe they call it. Like I said before, if you screw or nail two boards together side by side, that's called sistering, I think. So this last board of the loft will be doubled up like this to be super strong, so that when you're climbing up on the loft, it'll support your weight. Plus I'll be able to put the cross beams to the other loft with the stair landing hanging from those in the middle. So there we go. Basically, I have all the boards cut for this side. Oh, except for I guess I could cut all the support 13 3/4 cross things. Some of those will be complicated because I can't put a cross thing. I can't put a cross board where the rafters are, so it might be every other board is linked together, and some of them are not. But as long as some of them are, I think, basically I just don't want those boards up there over time to like be able to skew one side or the other after having weight put on them. So that's why I'm putting these boards in between as many as I can to brace them vertically. You probably already caught that, but in case somebody's watching this later, that explains that a little bit better. If that splinter is the biggest you've seen, then would it be called Master Splinter? Genius. Genius. Yeah, basically. I'm not as good at the puns as I used to be. I used to be all about the puns, like in people's chats and stuff. I guess part of it is because I don't watch streams anymore. I used to like try to be funny and say jokes in streams. I guess I'm getting old and don't even care anymore. But yes, I do like puns. Some people think puns are dumb, but I actually really like them. Not because they're super hilarious, but because they show like the ability to wordsmith, like just play with words and do it quickly on the fly. All right, well, I'm basically done with probably what I'm gonna do today. I do need to go into town. I don't know if it's too late. I think the nearest hardware store is closed, so I can't go get nails, but at some point I need to get a bunch of nails to attach all this stuff, and that'll be the next step. And I'm not necessarily going to stream every bit of this process. Maybe I will, some of it or all of it, but I just kind of wanted to do it today, try it out. So yeah, but yeah, I'll probably see, is there anything else I want to do before I end the stream? I think I'm kind of done for now. I could cut a few of those support boards, figure out which ones can be linked together. Just so you know what I'm talking about, like not all of them can be linked. Not that anybody cares, but maybe somebody does. Like this one can be linked. Can you see that? I don't know. There we go. This one can be linked because there's nothing interrupting these, but these two cannot really be linked because this rafter is in the way. So if I try to put this board up here, it doesn't have enough space to fit up there. I could put one like right here, I suppose. I guess that's not a bad idea. On these ones with the rafters, maybe I'll put a board out here. But in that case, I probably should buy some rafter hangers so they're not just whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be weight bearing. So anyway, yeah, so maybe I can cut all the boards, and then the ones that have the rafters will just be out further somewhere. And then the ones that don't have the rafters can be in there. So there we go. Figured that out. All right. So yeah, let's see. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. I need 12 of these. I've already cut 2, so I need to cut 10 more. So yeah, I'll do that real quick, just so I get that out of the way. I'll have to buy a ton more boards though, because none of the stuff that I'm doing was anticipated in my original design. So when I went to the hardware store with my parents while they were here, they bought all this stuff because they have money and I don't. But I didn't really figure all of these random needs at the time, so I need to go buy some more stuff. Maybe make a porch outside the door eventually too. That would be nice. I would love that. I think my mom would really enjoy that too. She talked about that. The problem with that though is, check this out. Let's see, which camera should I use to show this? That one's nice and set. Let's do this one. There's challenges for that. Check out how close the roof comes down to the edge of the door. So there's like 3 inches here. So there's not really room to put like a covering. I mean, I guess I was thinking covered porch would be nice. But if you put it, there's no space for anything to attach here. The door wouldn't be able to close. So can't really have a covered porch, unfortunately, unless you cut like a dormer up into the roof, which there's no way we're gonna do that. That'd be stupid. Way too much work. So yeah, it's a little bit complicated. Anyway. It's unfortunate that the door is just, and it's actually a short door too. Like my friend is over 6 feet, way over 6 feet. He would bump his head on this door trying to go in and out of it. I think if I'm standing upright and right in the doorway, there's like half an inch above my head. So anyone who's even slightly tall would have a head bump every time they come into the shed. He would probably, my best friend who's super tall would almost hit his head on these floor joists up here, but not quite. But yeah, the door, he would definitely blast his head into it if he was coming in here. All right. So, one not so clever trick, but just basic stuff is if you already have a board cut, you can use it to cut the other ones. Fancy, but instead of having to measure all these, you can just use this one as a guide, cut the next one, if they're all going to be the same width anyway. You just move it up against the side of the blade, and then I can't see that in the way, but Yeah, so you just move it up against the blade like that, and then you cut it right there. Very basic stuff. I'm pretending like I know what I'm doing. I'm showing you the most stupid basic stuff. Okay. Guess I could show a different angle of this so you're not just looking at my back when I'm cutting, but who cares? Let's see. Who cares? I actually could put this right here, I guess. Since I'm right-handed, this is super annoying though. It's super hard to do this stuff with my left hand because I need to hold this side. Normally I hold the other side, but like my hand's in the way, so I have to use my left hand. It just feels wrong. Oh, it goes a lot faster when you're cutting a bunch of things the same length. You can just line it up with the board. Still can't see what I'm doing because my shoulder's in the way. Technically, I don't need to hold that. Here's the master way. So you line it up, move the board, then I can use my left hand over here to hold it and go down that way. See, I'm learning. I can learn stuff. Match it up over here, put it against the blade. Move this out of the way. All right, so how many do we have here? We got 5, so I need 5 more. This saw blade is very sharp. I could probably use a good replacing, but well, it'll do the trick. one more, then I'm done. That's all I'm gonna do today. I wish I'd have got started earlier and then had a chance to go to the store to get the nails, because then I could have actually put it together, but I'll do that another day. Maybe make a, oh, I already read that. Okay, I got 10 of these. So yeah, I'll just put these between every board so that they are less likely to like fall over time with a lot of weight and pressure up there, which I don't think that would ever happen, but I just feel like, why not? It's not that expensive to cut a few extra boards, so that's basically all I'm gonna do, I think, today. I could pull out those other boards and start cutting them for the other side of the loft, but it's good enough. Double check their opening hours. True, but I'm pretty sure they close at 6. I mean, maybe they close at 8. I guess I could check real quick. That'd be a good idea. Good call. Let me see. Possible they close at 8, but I doubt it, especially since it's Saturday. Yeah, they're closed. I'll just go there tomorrow or whenever. But yeah, so I think I'll probably end the stream. It's good enough. Sorry for being so slow and clueless, but hey, I think it's kind of fun to show your learning process or just, you know, fumbling around. I don't claim to be an expert at anything, so this is not meant to be an instructive stream or video on YouTube later, so you can laugh at my mistakes and enjoy what it's like to learn something for the first time. This is the first loft I've ever built, so just learning as I go. So anyway, I think I will head out for the night. I wish if it was a little bit earlier, I would do that soccer ball juggling thing I was talking about, but I think it's gonna be, the sun's gonna go down pretty soon, so probably won't do that, but another day. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I will see you all next time. It's good to see you, ZJ. Thanks for dropping by. There's a lot of people from the past that I don't see anymore. I think community's kind of changed, and I don't really feel like I'm a big part of the D-Live community anymore. I used to kind of feel like I knew everybody and everybody knew me, but kind of out of the in crowd these days. I feel like I'm starting over from scratch, but that's all right. I don't mind, but it's good to see an old friend. All right. Got me beat. I didn't even make the first step towards something similar. Well, do it. I'll inspire you. Do it. All right, we'll see you around. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, honestly, I think a lot of people stopped watching me because I do the Bible readings, which is, it's fine. I don't look down on people for that. Like, if you're not a Christian or a strong believer, like, the last thing you want to watch is religious stuff. And some of my best friends from the past are definitely not religious, so that's all right. But I got to do what I got to do, you know what I'm saying? My spiritual life and my relationship with Christ are more important than all of my other relationships combined, so I will never compromise with him. Anyway, we'll see you around. Get it? You nailed the nail on the head
I'm going to go buy some nails from the store and do the same thing later.